I thought of many names before recording this video, and I still don't know which one I ended up picking up with, but I hope it's a catchy one. So, growing up, we become self-aware, right? Everyone talks about when we're 5 years old and we just experience stuff for what they truly are. And it's not always as intense as that. You can say that we can just be automatic for most part of the day. We wake up and we take a shower, we eat breakfast and move on with our days. But some people never get to experience the whole being self-aware thing again, right? They be like, okay, I was self-aware. I became self-aware when I was 5, and that's it. I've always been self-aware. That's not really true. And some of us experience life in a more conscious way than other people. I can say that I am one of those. Not to be pretentious or anything, but I've stuck around with stuff that has happened to me right after I became self-aware. For one example of this is a friend I made. Let's call this friend A. So while I met friend A, we needed things to talk about, right? For as self-aware as I was, I'd say that I didn't have much of a personality back then. Being the human that I am right now, it's not like I ascended or anything. Being human implies that you need to adapt to circumstances in order to survive. And at that moment, at the beginning of primary school, I needed a friend because everyone else had a friend. So we needed to find common ground, stuff to talk about. And one of those things was our favorite colors. It's not like there was much more when you're like 6, right? So I asked this friend what his favorite color was. And it ended up being blue. This person really liked blue, and everything he wore was blue, aside from the school uniform, right? He had a blue backpack, he had a blue pencil case, everything, right? And I had no issue with this. I didn't really know exactly, or I didn't want to express in order to fail the interaction right at first. So I tell him that my favorite color is also blue because, oh, it's the color of the sky and I like the tones and shades and yada yada. But that wasn't really, actually my favorite color was also red. I'm sure that I liked red more than I liked blue. But okay, what is this all about? What am I trying to convey when I bring up blue and red? The thing is, this interaction went as follows. This person really liked blue. They liked blue as much as they hated red. So I could never tell him that my favorite color was red because he always demonized red. He was like, "Oh, red is satanic. Red is bad. It's the color of hate." And all of these shenanigans, I just never really cared. I did care, right? I had to care to maintain the friendship because it was something that was really off-putting for him. But as soon as I found a way to not have to deal with the interaction, I did it. This being in secondary school, which is from 8th grade to 12th grade. Nowadays it's 12th grade. It's 7th grade. So we changed schools, and I never had to interact with this person directly again. I could have, right? I could have maintained contact and kept being as around him as I was and as friendly to an extent with free times in school and all of that. But I just didn't because it's almost like I felt oppressed, but the only person oppressing me was myself because I just never told them that I liked red. And this might be weird, right? You might just be like, oh no, just friends grow apart and all of that. Now comes friend B. I made this friend around 3rd or 4th grade, and he just didn't really care about colors. He didn't really care what color was my favorite, and he cared more about me. He cared about being around me, and he was just okay with everything, right? Not to say that being okay with everything is right or wrong. We were just kids after all. But this person liked me for who I was, which wasn't much. I didn't have much of a personality, not as strong as him, but we stuck around and we went to secondary school together. And even when we didn't, we still maintained contact and we kept being as close as we were in primary school. So what's the difference here? The difference is the oppression. I oppressed myself in order to maintain one relationship, and in the other one, I wasn't really losing anything. And since I didn't have to invent this part of me, while I was with this second person, right? We did eventually grow apart, but it was more because we didn't really see things the same once I entered college. And it's not about the college experience either. It's more like some jokes just stop being funny after it's been 5 years or so. And if we don't mature together, it's normally harder to maintain. We just have to live life to the fullest. Some people like seeing things in a pessimistic view, and some see things in an optimistic view, right? It's the whole glass half full, glass half empty theory. And I totally get that. I totally get that. Some of you might be listening to both stories and seen it as, oh, it's great that you had friends to begin with, for example, and it's bad that those friendships grew apart, or it might just be okay that both friendships grew apart, as in I learned something from them, and so on and so forth. Things are just all too complicated for me, so I rather use the term kalisin abjis, which is throw away the cup. It's not really a philosophy I invented. I'm going to look for the author of the whole throw away the cup thingy, but I rather just, instead of, I don't want to say live momentarily, because we all have to kind of think about the future and so on and so forth, right? But I believe that we'll get there. We'll just get there. And as long as in certain periods of your life you're surrounded by people you love, and that those people also love you and aren't just there for minor conveniences, right? Things will be okay. And in the end of the day, it's night. So if things are pointless, if things just really don't matter as much as my obsession with the color red and the fear of losing friendships because I did, or maintaining a facade, if things are just that meaningless, why not just be happy? This is coming from a person who struggled with depression in the past, but things will be okay.